Now, in the midst of all this change we've been talking about in the previous videos, like the Protestant Reformation and the Catholic Reformation and all the dang wars of religion, art began to change in Europe as well. So, if you're ready to get them brain cows milked Mannerism and Baroque style, then let's get to it. Oh, and if you want follow along note guides for this video, a link is in the description. So remember that the chief philosophy of the Renaissance was humanism, which taught the unlimited potential of human beings. And that unlimited potential often came at the expense of religion. You have everything you need inside of you, humanism would say, and you don't need any pope with any funny hat or any fairy god in the sky to tell you what's what. So as a result of the Renaissance, there was a real secular movement across Europe, and the art of the Renaissance in a lot of ways reflected that secularizing force. But then came the Protestant Reformation, and that got Europeans feeling all faithy again, and it was out of this revival of religious affections that a new wave of art called Mannerism arose in the 1520s and the 1530s. Now, the title Mannerism was at first an insult. The critics of this new form said that the artist painted in the manner of great artists of the Renaissance, but lacked their genius. In other words, Mannerist artists, according to their critics, were just budget Michelangelos. But despite their criticism, Mannerism became an important artistic movement precisely because it reflected the European yearning for spiritual experience. In terms of style, Mannerists made use of distorted figures and violated the rules of proportion in order to express intense suffering and emotion. For example, the greatest of all the Mannerists was El Greco, and here's his painting called Laocoon. Notice the distorted figures that are much less idealized than Renaissance figures. And the ominous sky and muted colors give the scene a real sense of heightened drama and emotion. Now, in the last quarter of the 16th century, Mannerism fell out of vogue, and what came to replace it was a new style called Baroque. Now, Baroque artists attempted to merge the classical ideals of the Renaissance with the rising religious affections of the age. So, Renaissance humanistic art? You think it. Mannerist art? You feel it. Baroque art? You both. So Baroque art still emphasized powerful emotion, but it did so according to classical proportions. In general, Baroque art was extravagant in form and ornate and detailed in style and highly emotional and dramatic in subject. And probably the greatest painter of the Baroque style was Peter Paul Rubens. Here in this painting titled The Elevation of the Cross, you can see the intense action and emotion surrounding the body of Christ. And then probably the greatest Baroque sculptor was Gian Lorenzo Bernini. His sculptures are highly detailed and communicate emotion and drama and intensity. Additionally, Bernini was responsible for the magnificent colonnade on the piazza in front of St. Peter's Basilica. And since we're talking about the church, I should tell you that the Catholic Church deeply embraced Baroque art. Remember that during this time, the church had a bunch of egg on its face because of the Protestant Reformation and was undergoing a reformation of its own. And so in order to consolidate their power and put the grandiosity of their reformed doctrines on display, they commissioned a bunch of art from Baroque-style artists. And that was true not only because the Baroque style captured the religious emotion of the time, but also because Baroque art was more straightforward than Mannerist art was. And if Catholics needed anything during this time, it was straightforwardness, as they attempted to make up for the losses they suffered at the hands of the Protestants. Now, the rest of my Unit 2 videos are right here, and that's where you should go next if you want to keep reviewing for AP Euro. Additionally, click right here to grab my AP Euro review pack, which is going to help you get an A in your class and a 5 on your exam in May. I'll catch you on the flip-flop. Heimler out.